This is Addison Smith with Campus Reform. President Trump was recently kicked off Twitter supposedly for inciting violence. But what about these tweets right here where the Iranian leader calls for the destruction of Israel, and this tweet of the Chinese embassy saying that the Uyghur concentration camps are actually a good thing? What do students think about this? Does big tech have a double standard? Are they actually concerned with removing violent rhetoric from their platform, or are they more concerned about going after Trump? We're here at Virginia Tech to find out what students think. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the Campus Reform video content. Let's go. So recently, President Trump was kicked off Twitter. He's been eliminated from a lot more platforms since then. Is that something that you guys support?
I think it's kind of funny. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I do. I think it was
Yeah, absolutely.
Not completely.
I mean, I don't think that anyone deserves their platform to be taken away, especially with big tech nowadays.
I think spreading hate and misinformation has caused a lot of distrust among the American people, so I think trying to put a stop to that is the right thing to do.
The violence that he's been fueling and the distrust in the government is terrible.
The fact that a tech company has the ability to silence a sitting president of the United States, which is the main way of communicating, it just doesn't sit right with me. I don't think that would ever happen on the other side. I know not a lot of Trump divided everyone, but I think that's something that would only happen on his side of the aisle, which isn't really fair.
A lot of people were saying that he was inciting violence and things like that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. A lot of people were saying, they said that the reason they kicked Trump off was inciting violence. I have a few tweets right here that I wanted to read to you. This one's from the Iranian leader. He tweeted this back in May of last year, and he said, quote, "The Zionist regime is a deadly, cancerous growth and a detriment to this region. It will undoubtedly be uprooted and destroyed. Then the shame will fall on those who put their facilities at the service of normalization of relations with this regime." So right there you have the Iranian leader calling for the destruction and for violence against Israel. And then there's another tweet from the Chinese embassy. Process of eradicating extremism, the minds of Uyghur women in Xinjiang were emancipated and gender equality and reproductive health were promoted, making them no longer baby-making machines. So there we have the Chinese embassy saying, the Uyghur concentration camps that they're being put through are actually a good thing. They're arguing in support of that violence against the Uyghurs. Those tweets were up for several months. They were up from the Iranian leader. They were up since last May. And they weren't taken down, flagged, or removed until there was an uproar caused that Trump was kicked off Twitter and these tweets weren't even censored. So reading those tweets, do you think that big tech has a bias against President Trump? If they're calling for the destruction of Israel, a tweet like that can stay up, calling for violence against Israel, violence against the Uyghurs, but President Trump was kicked off Twitter before them. Do you think that there's a bias there?
I think there's definitely some bias. They have an agenda, I believe, and you can see with the example you just said. So yeah, I think they do have some bias, and I think that's a good example of it.
Maybe there is a little bias, but because that happened to Trump, now they're trying to start to make it more censored out there. Now that this one big thing, they're trying to follow up with the other cases. I would say maybe there might be a little bias.
Do you think that kind of reveals that big tech could be more concerned about silencing Trump than about actually stopping violence on their platform?
Right now, especially with the election going on, I think they may be more concerned about Trump.
I guess, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, now that you put it that way.
So after hearing that kind of changes your perspective? You think that maybe there's more at play here, that they're just out for Trump?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems more like silencing than trying to do anything to stop it.
Hey there, my name is Hannah Catherine Smith and I'm with Campus Reform. To continue seeing videos like these, be sure to subscribe here. And if you're interested in becoming a member of the Campus Reform team as an investigator or a correspondent, you can join the team here. And if you'd like to help us continue making videos like these, donate here.